Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing something very cool today. A few things from Banks came in and we're going to be putting those in the cab. So obviously I'm got potential engine mods that I could do to this, but I'd rather wait until after the warranty's up, so another 4 years or so, just because it's a warranty and the engine's expensive. So the stuff we got from Banks is more warranty friendly, so we're going to go ahead and flip that around and show it to you. Alright, so we've got the iDash data monster, that's one of the gauges, the pedal monster, and the iDash. So the difference between these two, they look pretty much the same. This one will record data on a memory or mini USB card. This one simply displays it. And this one, the pedal monster, if you haven't seen it, go over to Banks and check out their videos on it. They did a really good job of explaining it. Essentially, it just kind of changes your throttle input. So a little bit of movement in the throttle is a big movement in the engine fuel. So makes the throttle a lot less spongy. So you get off the line a little quicker, which helps with these electronic throttles. They have pre-programmed throttle lag, so we're going to go ahead and get those, just like a little bit of dead space in the throttle, and it's a turbo, so hopefully this will help cut out some of that time, so I'm not waiting for the turbo to spool up for quite as long. Now this guy is the A-pillar gauge mount. Got this from AutoMeter. This one unfortunately is for the 2010 to 2018 truck, simply because they don't have the 19 plus out yet. When they do come out with that, I think I will probably end up buying it and swapping this one for the current year truck. This one's pretty close. If you haven't seen it, Eddie's Garage, go check that out. He did the same thing. He modified his a little bit, so we're going to attempt to do the same thing for this one. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to Dremel out here, Dremel up a little bit higher, and then Dremel this kind of this little bit out as well. So we'll go back to that and see how that fits soon. If you don't have one, get one. If you don't have a friend with one, get some more friends. I'm borrowing my brother's Dremel here. It's not too expensive. It comes with a few different heads. We're going to use this to cut that this guy as needed. But right now we're going to go ahead and hop up in the truck and take the factory A-pillar out and see just exactly what kind of adjustments need to be made to this guy. So before we do that, go ahead and grab your non-marring tools. You don't want to mar up the plastic at all. And then disconnect your battery. If you have a diesel, disconnect both batteries. It's not like one battery does one system and another battery does a different system. They all kind of power everything. So disconnect both, wait 10-20 minutes, open the door or try and activate something, let your battery drain down so you don't run into the airbag potentially blowing on you when you try to take the pillar out. Alright, so in the truck I've put some green painter's tape up here just for reference, because I wanted to know where the factory A-pillar terminated. So I have an idea as to where the new pillar is going to have to be placed. Get some of that glare out of the way. Where the new pillar is going to have to be placed in order for the bolt hole to line up, and hopefully this will give me a reference line. So first thing you want to do is come in here and pop this little cover off there and there. There's little lines back in here where you can sneak this tool in, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these off camera. They're pretty simple to do, but it's easier to do it with two hands. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back with you once I take these bolts out. Alright, got these little tabs popped out. They just kind of hang here. You come in from this side with the pry bar and just work it out. It pops out very easily. You got a 10mm bolt in here. Go ahead and work that out. That's one done. There's one more down in here. Go ahead and pop that out, and then once this bolt is out, this whole pillar comes off by giving it one pretty solid jerk towards you to pull the clip out. Alright, so we've got both bolt's out now. You're gonna give this a pretty good yank towards you, and out it comes. Set this aside. Here's the side curtain airbag. Again, we've got this disconnected from the battery, so keeps it from blowing on you. Again, just try your best not to knock it. Be pretty gentle when you pull this pillar out. Pull it back towards you and not that way or this way. And since we're on the topic of the airbag, I'm sure some of you are going to say, you know, don't put gauges in the A-pillar. That is certainly something I thought about before I decided to do this. I did some reading about this bag. It looks like it blows sort of, you know, down along the window and not out this way. Kind of looks like it just kind of moves the weather stripping out of the way rather than launching the plastic A-pillar out of the way. Since the A-pillar mount has this bolt holding it in place, shouldn't be affected by the airbag, I don't think. The pods that I could think of might, you know, if there's a lot of pressure built up in here when the bag goes off, the pods might be ejected unless they're held in place. So I'm looking at I haven't looked at how the pods will be held in place, maybe getting something to fix them in place, you know, mechanically rather than just pressure fit. So that's my only concern is with the pods. If there's back pressure and the bag's going off, I don't want, you know, pressure in here to build up and shoot the pods out. But so the airbag shouldn't interfere with the new A-pillar, so I'm not too concerned about that. Okay, so we've got the factory A-pillar, the new one. You can kind of tell the pattern a little bit different. This is more of like a canvas cloth pattern. This you can tell is just like a molded ABS faux leather design. Once it's black, it should be a lot more similar. Coming over here, this looks like the amount we're off. The factory A-pillar, line this up, just kind of trace around it. You can kind of see it comes down this direction, and it's a lot, I don't know, shallower. This one, the 10 to 18 AutoMeter pillar, starts out pretty similar, but does not go back far enough. So I just kind of eyeballed it with this pencil line, and then used the hairdryer / heat gun to heat this guy up right here and kind of bend it this way. I think I might have to do a little bit more bending. I'm going to first cut pretty conservatively and then just start doing a bunch of test fits until it gets pretty close. I'd rather not have to order another one of these. So get your Dremel, get your cutting wheel, and just I'm going to do a test cut on this piece, which I know is going to have to fall off. Make sure the plastic doesn't melt or anything, make sure it cuts properly, and then I'll meet back up with you once I've got this kind of cut to size. Alright guys, I have spent about 20 minutes over at the grinding bench pulling off just little bits of this thing, and I'll kind of show you how much I had to take off in a second. Let's try and zoom in a little bit. If I have to give anybody any advice, it would be just to go a little bit slower than I did way up here. You won't see this when it's painted black, but I took off a little bit too much on that very tip. But once you get it, you know, enough of it off, you can kind of turn off the flash again. Tuck it sort of underneath this guy here, and just try and rotate it into place to see how everything fits. And you will have extra sort of tucked under, so you don't have to get your line perfectly straight. It's all going to be hidden down in here. We are sort of matching up top at our tape line, and let's turn the flash back on. You can kind of see in here our holes lined up, and we have space for the pods now. So I'm going to go ahead and mark off sort of where this needs to be trimmed here. Trim that up, mock this up a little bit, screw it in, do a test fit, and then we'll go work on paint. Okay guys, I took a little bit more off this time. It was from the side down here. The window weather stripping, or the door weather stripping, covers this up, and that is all the cutting and trimming done. So now we just gotta focus on paint. Here's Dremel, put that aside, don't need that anymore. So what we're gonna do is clean off these edges here, and then I think I may try and just pull, heat this up a little bit and form this in, and then pop this out just to get it a little bit more of a contour. But otherwise we're ready for paint. So I'm gonna go pop over, grab some paint. I'm just gonna try and get a similar finish to this guy. It looks like it's got a bit of a reflective shine to it, but it's not glossy in any way. It's definitely a matte sort of a paint on this black, like a black matte. So we're gonna go over and try and match this. Get a can of that to spray on this guy, and then clean this off and mount it up in the truck and get the gauges in there later today. Alright guys, just got back from Home Depot and got two different kinds of paint. Both of them are Rust-Oleum because it's just ABS plastic, should be okay. We got one semi-gloss and one flat. And I got both just because I didn't know which sheen I'd be able to match the best. So these are the two offcuts. This one is from the side, this one's from the bottom. This one has 2 coats on it, this one's got 1. Let me turn the flash on. And you can kind of tell, just lining these up here, I think on camera, the flat is by far the closest sheen match. The semi-gloss is just far too shiny. So I think what I'm going to do is hit it with the flat. I think that's going to be fine. So I'm going to do 2 light coats of the flat. This stuff dries pretty fast, so I'm going to put 2 coats of this on here. This, I sanded the edges down. You can see it's nice and smooth, and wiped it all down with alcohol afterwards, let that dry. I did want to mention, I kind of was able to shape this and this whole sort of along the length of it. I pulled this front edge here in a little bit, and I pulled this out a little bit. See if I can line this up properly and show you sort of the same. This guy has the stock A-pillar cover has a bit of a flare on the tip, and this one did not. It went straight this way. So using the hairdryer, just get real close, heat it up to about 200 degrees. You're able to pry it, let it cool in that position, and it'll hold. So that's kind of what I did here, and it does fit a little bit, even better now. So we're gonna go ahead and get this painted, and then come back in and see how it fits once it's dried, and then hopefully get everything installed. All right guys, here we are outside. I'm gonna go ahead and get this sprayed, so just get right into it. Okay, so we've got the second coat on here. It's looking pretty good. Just leaving it in here to dry. Still tacky, so leave this for the next few hours. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and open up over here. Take a look at the Banks, different Banks products, and once we've got this opened up and I got it pulled out and laid out and I figure out how I'm gonna lay this up, I will bring you back to show you kind of how the final, ooh, what is this? This is the iDash. I will bring you back to show you the final sort of layout before we put in the A-pillar. Okay guys, I am down here by the gas pedal, and it is time to install the pedal monster while the A-pillar is drying. So come up to the gas pedal. Sorry. You've got the white plastic and you've got this guy here. So this is the connector that we're going to be using to attach the pedal monster to. There is a, see if I can get this in shot here. The tab is right here. Use a screwdriver or something to pry this back.
I've already done that because I couldn't get in here with the camera and a screwdriver. And then this will just pop off. And you're gonna bridge that connection with the pedal monster. One connection will go here, and one will go here. So go ahead and put that together. And then it is pretty straightforward connecting everything. Once you watch the video that comes with the install video that comes with it, whether you have the iDash like I do, or if you're doing the standalone, both sort of assemblies are in the video. So it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and connect the pedal monster off camera here, and then show you what it looks like once it's connected. Okay, so we've got the pedal monster connected there, and in the back there, you can't really screw it up. Only one connects, only this one connects to that one, and only this one connects to that one. So it only goes in one way. I've got the cable here. It runs around. I'm just kind of letting it dangle up over this plastic HVAC module here for now. It's got two 6-pins in it. We're going to run the 6-pin extension OBD2 connector from under there through and behind this plate, and probably zip tie it into this plate a little bit, and then up and out through the A-pillar and let them come out here. At that point, we'll be ready to install all the gauges into the A-pillar as soon as the A-pillar over here is done drying, and that'll probably be in a couple more hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the, I'll show you right now. It is, here is the 6-pin extension connector. This will run from the pedal monster. I'm gonna run it directly to my data monster. Now, if you only get one data monster, this sort of bifurcation cable here, this splitting cable won't be here, and you'll just plug this directly in here, here. But I'm going to be plugging this in here. This is the sort of daisy chain connector, and then this second one will go up to my iDash here. Now, there's the OBD2 connector, obviously because you need to have it connect to the vehicle and learn everything. This is obviously going into the OBD2. This cable is going to run, with this one up into the 4-pin. This is also a 4-pin up into the 4-pin, up into the 4-pin there. So we're going to run this cable and this cable right now. This one's going directly into the pedal monster, and then this one's going directly into the OBD2, but from there they go together up along the side of the dash and into the A-pillar, into the data monster. Alright guys, the OBD2 cable is connected here, tucked away up nicely there, and the cable from the pedal monster is run up nicely along the side, and we're coming out now at the A-pillar, and we are just now waiting for paint to dry. Okay guys, I've got the gauges now mounted in the pillar. Come over to the back side. I wanted to show you the sort of mechanical mechanism that keeps it in place. They aren't going anywhere, just driving around. They won't move. They're very, very snug. But there is this bracket that comes with the gauges. They slip on. See if I can do this with one hand. Like that. And we'll pinch the gauge here against the A-pillar with these plastic bolts. So you'll just snug these down, and your gauges will be locked in place. So this takes care of the issue I was worried about, where the airbag, if it went off, any kind of back pressure would potentially launch these gauges out. Shouldn't happen now because they're mechanically, locked in place. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up here, connect the gauges, and show you what it all looks like when I'm done. Okay guys, up in the cab now. We've got gauges, A-pillar all done. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and turn this on. hop over here, look at the gauges that we're interested in. We got the super gauge and the iDash. Super gauge rather, data monster on the bottom, iDash on the top. And I've configured the, these 2 pages, and the pedal monster I've got it sort of on the high end of city. But what I've got here is in the top left, def concentration, which looks to be how much def is left in the tank. It looks like it's a third full. Def temperature, DPF regen percentage. This is the one that's a big one for me. It'll then clear up all this real estate, so I can now more actively just kind of watch my engine temperatures and such. So I'm gonna be looking at this guy instead. This one I think I need to reset DPF distance. Maybe that was the distance between my last. No, it wasn't. I was definitely farther, so I'm not sure where it's pulling that from, but I definitely gotta look into that one. And then, sorry, the exhaust gas temperatures are all laid out here. I did go for a quick drive. This one, EGT1, is a lot hotter than EGT4 pretty much all the time, as you would expect. Coming up here, we got torque, engine load, turbo vane percentage, mass airflow, pedal monster boost, pedal monster output, pedal monster manual, and pedal monster speed. I'll probably change these 4 later on. I'm not sure what I'm going to change them to just yet, but that's pretty much how it looks. I'm still trying to go through and figure out how to call up those custom pages. You can load up 5 of them. Not quite sure how to grab them yet, but very cool, very versatile gauge. So that'll do it. If you liked the video, if you thought this was a cool install, if you have any experience with these gauges and the pedal monster, hit me up in the comments below. Send me a DM on Instagram at harrisons.garage. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and as always, stay tuned for more.